Hello and welcome to Wisdom Bites. Hope you're well. Thank you once again for joining us. Very much appreciated. And in today's video, I'm going to go through the CME futures gap, which last night came back and filled this space here, which I had tweeted back on the 7th of February when the price was around about 44,000. And I said there that the CME futures gap appeared at 40,935, seems a reasonable place for the price to come back and find some comfort. So we'll have a look at that. I'll also be doing a special cover of one of the Bitcoin miners. It'll probably be one you haven't even heard of, but those who follow the Bitcoin miners will know that a new company came on the NASDAQ listing on the 20th of January. And it is the biggest miner in North America. So I'll have a detailed look at them and see what potential there is for investment. But before I begin, just the usual reminder, please remember all my videos are for educational purposes only. Nothing should be taken as financial advice. And before making any investment decisions, please do your wider research. And with that out of the way, let's get cracking. So basically on February the 7th, I mentioned this CME futures gap. And if we have a look at the chart, in one of my previous videos, I showed you that there was another gap that formed recently over here. And that was on the 23rd of July, the last time we came down to these levels. And since then, the price went all the way up to the $69,000 mark here, came all the way down in this big fall that we've had, and right at the point of the previous gap, it came to fill it. Now, I know some people think it's not important, but the fact that this gap was filled right to the dollar here, to the gap over here, tells you that there is some importance. And yes, not all gaps get filled. However, the majority, in my experience, do get filled. And so it was with a high degree of probability that I mentioned that the gap that we've got here that formed on the 7th of February, after which we went up to these levels here around about 45.5, and it came back, and I mentioned in my videos that the price was so close to the gap that more than likely it will come back and fill it. However, instead of coming back to fill it at that point, it went back up and retested the $45,000 mark before last night coming back and filling this gap here. So just like the last gap where the price came back to fill the gap and then bounced from these levels, we currently seem to be doing exactly the same. So let's see if that holds, because if it doesn't hold, then we're more likely to go back down to the low 30s again. And the current price is 40,805 as I'm doing this video. Okay, so a quick overview of the daily chart. These are our key levels here at 46,000 and 40,000. And I've been saying for the last many videos now that these are the two key levels that should we get above the 46K, then we're good to go much higher. Now, I also mentioned that this head and shoulders pattern here will become invalidated if we go below this line here, which was at 39,600. The lowest we went was 40,099. So it hasn't really broken that yet. I mean, some classical chartists would say that this green trend line, which I drew yesterday for you, it's obviously broken that line here. In some ways, from a classical charting point of view, this has now become invalidated. However, because we haven't broken the low of the left shoulder, and until we do that, I still think that this could still quite easily play out with much higher levels up here. And the truth is, no one knows where this is heading. We're finding support and resistance at these levels here. If you look left here, there's a lot of support here at the 40,800 level. If you go left, you'll see some more support and resistance, etc. But it is important that we hold this level here at the 40,000. And while we do that, there's every probability that we're going to be moving more towards the upper levels of the $46,000 mark. But once we break this, we're back into this zone again, where we could be testing the higher low created here at around the 36,200 mark, or this low here at 37,000. So we'll just have to wait and see. Okay, so a quick look at the Core Scientific, a Bitcoin miner, which is the largest Bitcoin miner in North America, which came to a listing on the 20th of January this year. So it's only been out on the NASDAQ listing for less than a month. And it is currently the largest digital asset Bitcoin miner in North America. It has around about 100 employees. It was originally based in Seattle, but now it's relocated to its headquarters in Austin, Texas. The company merged with an existing company called Power and Digital Infrastructure, which had the ticker symbol XPDI, and the combined company ticker is now CORZ, as you can see here. And the combined company actually generated around about $300 million net to fund the mining equipment and infrastructure needed to mine more Bitcoin. The merger was actually supported by BlackRock, which is the world's largest asset manager, which has a portfolio of around about $9.5 trillion. And BlackRock actually owned 3.4 million, and that's 1.08%. And they are the largest institutional shareholder of this company. So, and 27% of the company is owned by 3 people on the board. That's Mike Levitt, who's the co-founder, chairman, and CEO, David Feinstein, who's also a co-founder and chairman, and Matt Minnis. So together they own 27% of the company, which is very good in terms of knowing that the people who are running the company own at least a quarter of the company's shares. So they have a vested interest in doing well here. So on the whole, it appears like a solid company. And if we go to the announcement in February about the January updates here, Core Scientific's self-mining operations produced 1,077 Bitcoins in January 2022. The company held 6,373 Bitcoins in their custody, which was produced from their operations. And as of January, they owned and ran a fleet of more than 75,000 Bitcoin miners, producing 7.5 exahash. The exahash correlates to the computer power required by a Bitcoin mining equipment to confirm a transaction. So the higher the exahash is, the more Bitcoins a company can mine. And this 7.5 is currently the highest. And I'm going to show you a table comparing Core Scientific with the other Bitcoin miners. However, one of the attractions of Core Scientific to me was this here. They are also a hosting company, which means that they provide the infrastructure, the location, and the services for other Bitcoin mining companies to use on top of the actual Bitcoin mining that they do themselves. So as it says here, in addition to its self-mining fleet, as of January 31st, 2022, Core Scientific provided the infrastructure, technology, and operating support for a diverse group of customers, and that represents 7.1 exahash. Okay, so that's the background. So how does Core Scientific compare with the other miners? So on the top line, I've got Marathon, Core Scientific, Riot Blockchain, Cypher. You may not have heard of Cypher, Bitfarms, Hut 8, Argo, Hive, and CleanSpark. So these are the ones that are the main ones on the NASDAQ listings. So these are the monthly totals that all of these companies have mined over the last 12 months up to January 2022. And if you look at the totals down here, you'll see that Marathon have mined 3,192, Core Scientific 5,769, Riot 3,818, and etc. with all the other miners there. But if you look at the January figures here, you'll see that Marathon mined in January, the latest figures available, 462 Bitcoins, but Core Scientific was more than double that at 1,077. And Riot Blockchain, which is the other big miner, mined 458. Core Scientific mined more than Marathon and Riot put together. And the interesting thing is that this is not really reflected in the market cap. As of yesterday's closing prices, I put these in for you, that Marathon currently has a market cap of 2.91 billion, whereas Core Scientific is about the same at 3.03 billion, and Riot is at 2.07 billion. So while Core Scientific is producing double the number of Bitcoins on a monthly basis for the last 2 months at least, the market cap doesn't reflect anything near what it should be in comparison to the other main Bitcoin miners. And this is the exahash, the power to mine the Bitcoins. So Marathon currently has an exahash of 3.6, but they have an expected exahash by Q1 next year, 2023, of 23.3. So they've got a lot of plans to develop and grow over the next 12 months. But so do Core Scientific. I think they want to get to similar levels by the end of the year. And Riot, by Q4 2022, so at the end of this year, they want to be having an exahash of around 12.8. So there's a lot of big plans for all of these miners for the next 12 months or so. So if we have a look at the chart, I've put a pink vertical line on the date when the company Core Scientific came to the stock market on the 20th of January. And since then, as you can see, unfortunately, it came in the middle of the downfall that we've had with Bitcoin. And that was reflected in the price fall from around about $10 when it came on the market, and it bottomed out with a 42% fall within a few days at around about 5.8. But since then, it's made a very good recovery from the bottom down there. It's been as high as 11.5. So within a couple of weeks, it's actually gone nearly 100% up back towards its opening price on the NASDAQ, around about the $10 mark. So currently, in the last few days, it did fall down quite badly at around about the $9.5 mark. We're currently at a support level here, based on what's happened recently. There isn't very much price action, but what there is, I've been able to look at the support and resistance lines here. I've drawn these two lines here as a Fibonacci retracement from its high recently. So the price really has a potential to come back to the 61.8 around these levels at 7.99 to 7.81 around here. I'm not quite sure if it will come down here, but it always depends on Bitcoin, which is the driver. If Bitcoin falls over the next week or so below the $40,000 mark, then this will cascade down as well to basically hit these levels, and possibly with the potential of coming all the way down here. So what I've been doing is I've been dollar cost averaging into this company over the last few days, because I believe the potential for this company is absolutely huge. So we'll just have to wait and see. This is not financial advice. You have to do your wider research. I don't know everything about the company. As you can see, there isn't much history previously of this company at all. So that makes it a very volatile and risky company. And if you're not into volatility, then I would steer clear away from this. The company does remind me about Marathon, and how Marathon became a major player by producing a lot of Bitcoins month on month. And hopefully, if Core Scientific does the same, then we can expect the price to be going much, much higher. Certainly, if Bitcoin goes towards the 69,000, I can expect a very big bounce in this price. Okay, so we'll leave it there for today. I hope you found value in the video today. And if you did, then please do remember to like and subscribe and to turn on the notification bell. And if you've got any comments, questions or suggestions, then leave them in the comments below. Until the next time, take care, stay safe, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.